If you'd like online business explained to you in a way that you can actually understand, go to latenightim.com/explain. It's completely free, and I made it just for you. Now, how about an episode? Episode 175.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
This week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, I give you my 6 most important takeaways from FlynnCon 1. I can't believe I was lucky enough to be at the very first FlynnCon. All this and more on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
The Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
You've been working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my friend? Yes, you can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
And now, broadcasting late at night from a little studio in the big state of Texas, your host, Mark Mason.
Well, hello. How is everybody out there? I hope you're having a fantastic week. My name is Mark Mason, and I am your host coming straight from the little studio in Dallas, Texas. Everything is groovy here. I hope everything is groovy with you. And I am flying high back from FlynnCon 1. Things have just been going great. Before we talk about FlynnCon, though, I got to tell you this great story. You know, one of the reasons that I love internet marketing and teaching internet marketing and talking about internet marketing is because there are so many great, useful, helpful things that you can do when you know about internet marketing. For example, a buddy of mine years ago wanted to sell a Christmas CD of music that he had written as a fundraiser for his church. I was able to get that thing online for him, help him sell some copies of that to raise money to help people at Christmas time. And when my wife wants to book photo gigs for her photography business, I know enough internet marketing. She's got a website with landing pages, and I can drive traffic to that website and get appointments for her here in the local area. And recently, my niece wanted to start doing some tutoring. She's a certified teacher here in Texas, and I'm able to help her get a website up and running and, as needed, drive traffic to that site. It's a great thing. Internet marketing is a very powerful skill, but I have combined the 2 most powerful things in the universe, internet marketing and baseball, because we had a couple of kids leave our baseball team, you know, this spring. We had a really good spring, but we have multi-sport athletes. And sometimes when you move into the fall, you have the hockey kids wanting to go off and play hockey and the basketball kids wanting to play basketball. Some kids just decide that they're done with baseball, and we had 3 spots to fill. Now we're an independent team, so that's can be a tough problem. We're not part of a big baseball organization that we can lean on to get players. And so what did we do? We put up a website, a single page landing page using ClickFunnels, and we were able to create a fantastic website experience all about the team. And we have an opt-in box there for people who were interested in trying out for the team. For 13-year-old players who wanted to try out for our team, you could sign up, give us your information, and we'd contact you about a tryout. Sure enough, we had a bunch of people interested. We were able to try out about 10 different players. We picked a couple of guys, and we filled up the team. So that was absolutely a fantastic experience. And I was able to do that with the power of Facebook advertising. I was able to target people using the experience that I have with Facebook that were interested in youth baseball and drive that traffic from a very local, geographically restricted area. Obviously, baseball players need to live nearby us, and drive them to the landing page, get those conversions for opt-in, and convert those opt-ins into youth baseball players. And I'm telling you, it's a really, really simple idea here. If I can create baseball players with Facebook ads and a landing page, you can create dollars with your product, a landing page, and some traffic. It's really that straightforward. Maybe difficult to execute. You might have a lot to learn, but if you stick to it, you can work your way through it and make some money with internet marketing. It really is an amazing time to be alive.
It's time to get to work building your internet business. One night at a time.
So like I said, I'm super excited because I just had one of the most amazing conference experiences that I've ever had in my entire life, having just come back from the very first ever FlynnCon. Pat Flynn's conference in his own backyard in San Diego, hundreds of people there, a nice intimate event in the sense that it wasn't thousands and thousands of people. I got to meet a bunch of fantastic people, and it reminded me why I go to live events. So one reason to go to live events, obviously, is for the training, and Pat delivered amazing value bombs aplenty. And I'm going to tell you all about those. I'm going to give you my top 5 or 6 takeaways from the FlynnCon event. And I hope those will be takeaways that, since you couldn't make the event, I can transfer those to you, and those will be actionable for you in your business. But the other thing that happens at these live events, and why I want you to consider going to live events, either in your niche or for training with like-minded people that are running businesses like you, either one, is because of the people that you meet. I had some of the most fantastic conversations with people at the event. And what's really cool is Pat has an exclusive Facebook group for attendees, and those conversations are going on well beyond the event. Really cool. My buddy Chris Ducker was there. I got to spend time with them. Shalene Johnson was there. I got to talk to her. It was really great. Stu McLaren showed up. Just an amazing array. Most of the conference was Pat delivering amazing content, but there were a lot of other really cool people there, and I just really enjoyed my time hanging out, talking to people. In addition to that, Pat had this amazing concept. He likes the idea of the Apple Genius Bar, and so he had representatives from his favorite products, which also happen to be my favorite products, like ConvertKit, Teachable, Buzzsprout, who's the host of this very show. The MP3 files are delivered to your player via Buzzsprout for this show. Some of these guys, they had these Apple Genius Bar like setup where you could just go up and talk to people either about what you'd like to see from the products or questions you had. They were there to help you. You could bring your laptop and they would open up your account. If you had questions about how your stuff was working, you could spend time with these guys at the Genius Bar, the Smart Bar, because everything with Pat is smart something. So it was the Smart Bar at Pat's conference, and these sponsors were there, but they weren't selling anything. They were there to help people. I thought this was a genius idea, really a fantastic conference, absolutely going next year. And in fact, my 13-year-old is interested in going. They had a whole separate track in the afternoons for young entrepreneurs where Pat had brought someone in to teach young entrepreneurs things like how to develop a business idea, how to do budgeting, and all the kinds of things that young entrepreneurs might need to know. It was truly an amazing family-friendly event. no alcohol served at the event, no F-bombs from the main stage. It was really, really cool. And it was just so enjoyable. What I wanted to do for you, though, since most of you were not there, I hope to see you there next year, but since most of you were not there in San Diego with me, I wanted to give you my 5 or 6 takeaways from the event. The very first one is, holy mackerel, Pat Flynn has grown from this kid that I knew that was just barely 30 years old or 20-something years old when I met him over a decade ago. And he was trying at that time, as I've told the story many times, trying to figure out how to download a PDF file after someone gave him some money. You know, he's trying to figure out how to take someone's money and then unlock a PDF file. He's gone from that to this guy running a multi-million-dollar business, and his just level of performance at this event and the amount of growth that I've seen in this guy over the last 10 years is just phenomenal. And he just crushed it from the main stage for the entire weekend. It was really something to see. Some of these presentations and the way they were done and the heartfelt communication that came from Pat, along with his teaching, not only about internet business, but about how to mix business and family and some of the other stuff that he's famous for, were really spectacular. Pat has really arrived from an internet marketing standpoint at just an amazing, amazing time. One of my big takeaways was from Shalene. Shalene is a force, a life force. If you don't know Shalene, she's amazing. She is a Beachbody fitness coach. She's also an internet marketing coach. She knows a ton about making money online. She's kind of an 8-figure businesswoman, and she came from the main stage and talked about the power of Instagram. This was a really amazing thing. And one of the, and I've said amazing 17 times, as you can see, I'm really fired up. I need to use more words here, but it was really powerful when she talked about the power of Insta right now, almost replacing Facebook as her most important conversion platform because of the level of engagement that she's able to get with her tribe, particularly on the side of direct messages. So that's something that I am going to start trying to adopt in my business. You'll find me posting to Instagram, particularly stories. If you're interested in following me on Instagram, I'm Late Night IM on Instagram, LATNIGHTIM on Instagram. I'd love to follow you there. I'd love to try and create the kind of community on Instagram that Shalene has created. Now, I'm a Facebook guy. I'm not an Instagram person yet. I post to Instagram, but I'm not an Instagram guru like some of the people around me, and particularly my kids and my wife are super great at Instagram. So I've got some work to do there, but I'd love to engage with you on the Instagram platform at Late Night IM. So we'll see you over there. I got to meet 2 of the most amazing people, Shane and Jocelyn Sams from Kentucky. They're the Flipped Lifestyle podcast people. We have a lot of friends in common. But we've never met. We've never been at the same place at the same time. I got to have lunch with Shane Sams. What an amazing man this guy is. I mean, they're helping so many people from their home in Kentucky. They are former teachers that have flipped their entire lifestyle. Now they're online entrepreneurs making probably, 10 or 100 times more money a year than they were making as teachers. But their mission is to help other people do exactly the same thing. They're having an enormous amount of success over at Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. And one of the things I heard Jocelyn say was, if you want to make serious money, you need to solve a serious problem. You know, I've never heard this said this way before, but it's really true. People are willing to pay for solutions to their problems. And they're more likely, as Shane says, they're more likely to pay for aspirin than they are for vitamins. You know, if you've got a bad headache and you need some aspirin, you're going to go take it. And if you don't have some, you're going to go to the store and get some because, dang it, you've got a bad headache and you need to get rid of that thing. You're highly motivated to pay somebody for some aspirin. Vitamins, your doctor says you should take them, and you will take them eventually and most of the time. But if you miss your vitamins a day, it's not a big deal. You'll take them tomorrow, right? And so for those of you that have online products out there that are more like vitamins than aspirin, the encouragement is go find some products to sell and take some approaches to solving people's problems that look more like aspirin than vitamins. Because as Jocelyn says, if you want to make serious money, you need to solve a serious problem. I thought that was really great. Sometimes a serious problem is helping someone figure out how to make money online because of the goals they want to build for their family or whatever it is they're trying to do. Sometimes the serious problem that someone has is they need to solve their golf swing problem. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a serious life-threatening problem, but from the perspective of your prospect, it needs to be a serious problem that they care deeply about, a fanatical enthusiasm or a serious pain that you're going to solve for them. Serious problems if you want to make serious money. Meeting the Sams family, Shane and Jocelyn, was one of the highlights of the whole trip for me. So that was great. And that nugget is something that I hope you will take away from my meeting with them. Chris Ducker was the MC of the event. For those of you that don't know Chris, he's the Youpreneur guy at youpreneur.com. He's he's a prince of a man, just an amazing guy. I really love this guy. He's Pat's best friend, and they claim that openly, and that's well known. He is a fantastic entrepreneur in his own right. The Youpreneur brand is really amazing, and it's all about the brand of you and how for people who are branding themselves, that how you go do that and how you build a business around when you are the brand of the business. One of the pieces of the talk that Chris gave was all about the importance of the customer experience and how you treat customers. And he had the most amazing examples of both awesome customer treatment, where customers were delighted by the way they were treated, and horrendous customer treatment all around the area of social media. So I encourage you, the takeaway from this is when people reach out to you on social media, even, if you're a little off-put by the way they're reaching out or what they have to say, you want to treat them with kindness and grace and engagement. Make them feel like they are your only customer. And you might say, well, Mark, I've got thousands of customers. I can't do that. I'm overwhelmed. My encouragement to you is to do for as many of those customers as you can what you would like to do for all of your customers. How you treat your customers is really critical. And if you want to sustain a brand online, that effort is well worth it. And Chris had some doozy examples. I can't do them justice, or I would repeat them here, but that's a very important thing that Chris went over. One thing that was clear to me from this conference, and it's something that actually there were two big takeaways that I had personally from this conference. One is Pat chose to offer a considerable amount of work-life balance and family type advice. He had April on the stage. He had his kids on the stage. This was a very family-centric event that recognized that solo entrepreneurs have families, and those families are by necessity part of the business. And so you've got to handle that correctly. And Pat is really here. He's trying to lead by example. This is another one of Pat's real strengths is his ability to lead by example. And in this particular case, Pat did some great stuff explaining how he and April worked through things. We had a VIP session with him in April, and they talked about how they manage their relationships and how they communicate and so forth. It was very interesting. But one of the two big takeaways around this was entrepreneurs need this kind of coaching. It's very important. You need to be taking care of yourself and your family. I know it's very easy to get latched up 75 hours a week at a day job and then another 20 on an internet business, and you make your family third or fourth or fifth. that is not a good long-term strategy. You've got to remember that this online business building is a marathon, not a sprint, and you've got to take care of yourself, particularly, and your family, especially if you're going to really do this correctly in the long haul. Because even if you're wildly successful, if you don't have a good relationship with the people that you want to share it with, what's the point, right? So there's that. The second thing that I learned, I spoke from the main stage with Pat, and I talked a little bit about what it's like to have a day job and a side hustle, essentially an internet business and the late night internet marketing brand. I was really overwhelmed by the number of people that came up to me and wanted to talk about how that resonated with them, because they too were in a situation where they had a day job they loved, and they weren't intending to leave it. They weren't running away from some evil corporate cubicle nightmare scenario. They liked their job, but they also wanted to build a successful business on the side. So I loved that. And what I took away from that is that people want more kind of tips and tricks, easy for me to say, life hacks and so forth around how to do that, how to balance a day job, a family, a side business. And so I promised from the main stage that the next episode of the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast would be solo entrepreneur tips. And so that episode 176 will be that. We'll see that in a week, and I hope you enjoy that. But one of my takeaways was that is needed, and I probably need to be doing more of that because people were coming up to me after the show. Then there were two amazing personal stories that some of the most popular Ask Pat and Smart Passive Income podcast guests were there to share. So one of the things that Pat did was he brought some of the most popular episode guests, and not like expert guests, but guests that had had success and had been highlighted on the podcast to come and tell their story. And the two stories were spellbinding. One story was this world famous artist F. who was there. He paints murals all over the world. And when I say murals, I mean like basketball court size murals all over the world. He told his story, and boy, it was a doozy. At one point, he's the guy, if you've ever seen Pat has available and wears oftentimes these Serve First t-shirts. I have one. And the lettering on this shirt was done by this artist F. You can find him at F. EFDOT on almost every social platform. Guy's totally amazing. His story is totally amazing. And the amazing part of his story is when he was really struggling and trying to make his way through, one day he was home and he saw that there was a fire in his apartment building, and his apartment burned down. He already had almost nothing. All his art supplies and everything burnt to the ground. And as he was cleaning up the mess, he had this scanner that he used to scan his hand drawings into his phone for posting on Instagram and some of his social media. And the scanner was melted, and he pried the lid off the scanner, and having survived was this piece of paper that he showed during the presentation, which was some hand lettering, kind of like the Serve First hand lettering, but it was the word optimism. And that served as a catalyst for him to take everything, rebuild everything, take the whole thing to the next level and well beyond. And he tells that story. It was unbelievable. Definitely recommend that you check out F. online, EFDOT. And then Waleed is a very famous photographer. Waleed told his story about how he did not feel like he was a credible photographer. He showed some of his pictures. They're amazing. Famous rap stars. I mean, just all of these Hollywood shots that he's taken, incredibly artistic stuff. And even though he was this world famous photographer, he suffered from imposter syndrome. And he talks about that. And he talked about how he was able to overcome this imposter syndrome to do some 5-figure ebook launches, which is a really amazing story. So if you're feeling imposter syndrome, you feel like you don't, you know, who wants to listen to me? I'm not qualified. Who am I to teach people how to do whatever? You're not alone. There are other people who look to be just amazingly well qualified to do something like teach photography. And they're also suffering from this kind of imposter syndrome. And so Waleed's story was truly amazing as well. I will try to dig up the podcast number on the Smart Passive Income podcast for Waleed and put that in the show notes for you for this episode. So my takeaway from FlynnCon, if you were not there, you missed out. It was amazing, but do not despair. There will be FlynnCon 2. They're already working on it. Tickets are already for sale at FlynnCon2.com. They're the cheapest they're ever going to be right now. If you're interested, go, because I'll be there and I'd love to see you there. And if you go next year and you're there, come find me because I'd love to talk to you. It's really awesome. So those are my takeaways from FlynnCon. That is some of the best conference money and, more importantly, time that I have spent in a very, very long time.
Now it's your turn. What action are you going to take to build your business?
One night at a time.
Okay, so that wraps it up for this episode of the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. So my challenge to you is to take these things that we've been talking about and pick one and see what it is that you can change in your business. This growth that I see in Pat, what are you doing to invest in yourself, to have growth for yourself so that in 10 years, I can say exactly the same about you? Instagram, what are you doing on Instagram? Because people that I know, like, and trust are telling me Instagram continues to be one of the most important conversion platforms out there. What are you doing there? And are you following me at Late Night IM? If you need to make serious money, are you solving a serious problem? Think about the problems that you're solving for your readers and your customers. Are they the serious problems, and are they going to lead you to making serious money? Are you treating your customers the way they really need to be treated? That's a super big question. Every time you interact with someone in your community or in your tribe, you need to treat them in a very special way. Make sure they feel like they're your number one customer every time you interact with them. What are you doing to take care of your family? I know you need more than business advice. You need life advice. And my life advice to you is to make sure you're treating the whole patient, which is yourself. You know, you're the patient. You're working on your business, but make sure you're taking care of your health and make sure you're taking care of your family. And with regard to Waleed and FDOT, make sure you stay optimistic, keep fighting, and also make sure that you don't fall victim to imposter syndrome. If that's happening to you, if you've got that imposter syndrome, you need to realize that whatever it is that you know about your topic, you know more than most people who need your help, and you can help them. So that imposter syndrome stuff, that's not something you want to live with. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic week. I will be here next week and we will talk about some tips for side hustling. All right. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic week. I'm out.
You can do it right when it's late at night.
You've been listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Be sure to visit latenightpodcast.com today to leave feedback for Mark. Download special bonus content, access the show notes, and more. See you there.
Until then, go and make some great progress on your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
So the number of cool things that Pat did at this conference is many. I mean, there's so many things. One thing that he did was FDOT, this famous mural artist, he painted a mural specifically for the conference. And Pat had an unveiling of this mural. It was on a giant canvas that he brought into the main stage, and he unveiled this thing. And it was the whole theme of the conference was press play. And there was a whole video game component because he made it kind of retros 80. Think of Galaga or Pac-Man. You know, it was kind of an old video game kind of motif. And he was trying to get the idea that all you really need to do in your business is press start. He's trying to get people to start. And so press play was the theme. And FDOT did this mural, and it was a dot matrix mural. It was a giant, it was bigger than people, large size canvas. And it was done in dot matrix. And Pat announced, revealed that the dots, which were sort of the size of quarters, were actually chalkboard paint. And after this mural was revealed, Pat had everybody in the breaks and stuff go up to the mural, and with special pens and markers that would write on this chalkboard paint, write down on the mural in these black dots exactly what they were going to start. It was really cool. It was such a cool idea. So at the end of the conference, there's this mural now. I'll put a picture of it in the show notes. And if you zoom in, you can see all these things that people are finally going to start. I wrote on the mural, and what I wrote, and the idea was whatever you write up there, it has to be finished by the time you get back to FlynnCon 2. I wrote up there that I was finally going to release the late night affiliate course. It's coming soon to a teachable installation near you.
Late night internet marketing.
Hey, it's Mark again. I wanted to tell you one more time about this absolutely free resource that I have for helping people who are trying to get the big picture for internet marketing, actually get started and understand what all their choices are. If that's not you, there's no more content. You can skip to the end. But if you're someone who came to this podcast because you're searching for how to get started online and you just can't cut through all the noise, I get it. That was me in 2007 when I was trying to get started. There were so many people throwing offers at me that I really couldn't even understand what all the different business models were. I couldn't understand how money moved around on the internet. And I couldn't really get a grip on what direction I wanted to go in so I could figure out how to move forward. I've created a free video resource for you just for that purpose at latenightim.com/explain. In several short videos, I just explained to you what internet marketing is all about and what online business is all about and the different options that you have for starting an online business. There's nothing to buy there. You just sign up for access and you get the videos just like that. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know someone who's in a same situation, send them that link, latenightim.com/explain. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what people are thinking that are in the exact same position that I was in more than a decade ago in 2007. In some ways, it seems like yesterday. And in some ways, it seems like an entire lifetime ago. Again, that's latenightim.com/explain.
Late night internet marketing.